It's kind of funny because, you talk about like a parent coming in to see that and like being mad or wanting to shut off the game. But if you ask me, if my kid was playing a game like this, especially if they were like at least like 10 or 11, I would think it would be great because it's such a cerebral game. Like
that is true. On the other hand,
it's like a novel.
That is true, but on the other hand, this was a product of its time where everyone hated video games as best they could.
Especially on this system, it's where Night Trap really got in the most trouble. I mean, it was on the 3DO first, but...
yeah, Night Trap was... the game wasn't bad enough, but the controversy was bad enough that it hit, like, governmental level debates.
And it never got above, like, a PG-13 kind of...
Yeah, if you don't know...
This is way more violent than Night Trap ever was.
Yeah, if you don't know, Night Trap is basically Home Alone, except with girls in pajamas instead of Macaulay Culkin. Like, there's
no nudity and no actual, like, gore or blood in it.
Yeah, it's beat the bad guys with stupid traps. Like, that's the game, and that's the one that set everybody off. Don't worry about Mortal Kombat. Don't worry... I mean, nobody played Snatcher. There's only a few thousand copies, but, like... Snatcher was way the hell worse with its themes and with its explicit content. Not that there's much of it, but what there is, wow.
And it's especially jarring, especially since it kind of has a... Even though there's a darker tone to the game, it isn't especially like dark and grimy, except in the dark and grimy parts. So it's kind of jarring when you do walk into a well-lit home. And then all of a sudden you see, like, a dead body, pulsating,
I was going to mention, actually, it's not like, oh, you found a crime scene, there's the body. All three of those moments were unexpected.
Yeah.
Like, you go into the factory, where's John Jack? Like, cut, like, violent scene. Or you walk into the house, where's Alice? Throws through a freaking window. Oh my god, like, its intestines are hanging out. God damn. And then there's the maggot one. The lights are off. Let's turn the lights on. Close up of a maggot-ridden body. Like, it gets you every time. It's not like you see this coming. It's brutal.
And I also want to point out one more thing. As I look more and more at this, you kind of notice the inspiration from 007. Right there.
Oh yeah, shooting the
shooting the camera.
Not only that, it's a little more subtle, but I don't know if this was intentional, but you kind of have the arc around him. It's almost like that rifle barrel,
exactly.
Sort of. Oh, and you mentioned, actually, Metal Gear.
Yeah, Metal Gear is actually really tiny on there, but I never noticed him before, and I've owned this game for years.
Yeah, I've never noticed it myself.
It's right there.
I've seen, like, the art and everything. So, there's that. It actually really is a pretty sweet cover.
Yeah, I really like everything surrounding this game. I mean, you could really sense the love for American movies and movies in general, cinema. I mean, like, there's so many references to Akira visually and all the motifs and everything. And
there's the more obvious ones, like Blade Runner and Terminator.
Yeah. I mean, like, I kind of like that the Snatchers are actually better than Terminators in a lot of ways, because, like, one of the limitations of Terminators in the movies is that they can only really imitate one shape. Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
You better be that body type. I mean, here you can't go too far with that, but as you can see, they've emulated all sorts of people.
Yeah. I don't know. Overall, it's such a great experience because there's so much in it. Like, there's not just the content. Like, there's not just the written content, which is great. It's better than almost any other game out there. But it's the fact that there's so much jam-packed, so many references to people that love movies and love other games, and
they even straight up give shout-outs to sci-fi authors' names from the Jordan Computer. You wouldn't even have gotten this if you did a regular play, but the Jordan Computer is naming space stations. Like, there was the Herbert, there were other things named after
Frank Herbert,
Kurt Vonnegut, Michael Moorcock. There might have been one or two more authors. Asimov.
I'm sure there was a Philip K. Dick
other
reference in there.
Did they mention Ellison? They might have mentioned Ellison.
Either way,
in any case, the clear shout-outs. It's just like, as you mentioned, with a Konami thing, Silent Hill has all those streets named after horror authors. You have Stephen King, and it keeps going on. You have Michael Crichton.
Brom.
Yeah, Brom. But Crichton, he goes in and out of horror, I guess. But yeah, like all sorts of authors like that. At least thriller, at the very least.
Well, I think Jurassic Park was still pretty relevant when.
Yeah, that's more on the horror end. Yeah. I'm thinking other stuff like Sphere or Congo. It's like not really. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like. I guess it delves into horror, It's just
he
like
certainly does.
Else.
He has a lot of situations that would suck, like the ones with the nanomachines that want to kill everybody. Like, what was that? I forgot what it's called. But I'm deviating from the topic here.
Yeah.
Overall, though, this game is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a very rare opportunity to be able to show you something like this because these were made in small supply for a system that nobody bought anyway.
Yeah, and I happened to buy it before. It was popular at the time amongst hardcore gamers, but now it's kind of like exploded, kind of like Earthbound is, and I got it relatively cheap. I got it for about as much as you would needed to pay it for it when it was new. Maybe a little bit more, but not by much. And
I got mine for 2.5 times what you paid for yours, and I still got a deal. Yeah, that's still a deal. Think about that.
It's kind of funny.
You got away with murder with yours. I can't believe it.
This is just one of those legendary games that's both in short supply and happens to be one of the best in its field.
Yeah, so it's really cool to get to show you this because this is, in a sense, a part of the Metal Gear universe that isn't really explored. Everyone played Metal Gear Solid 4, but again, did you know Metal Gear Mark II is not from that game? It is from Snatcher. It was a connection the whole time and no one knew.
Yeah. And while this game doesn't have a direct narrative sequel, it does have a sequel of sorts. It has a spiritual successor in a game called Police Knots, which was referenced in the original Metal Gear Solid, with Otacon has a poster of it in the background.
Yeah, this is just like one of my Japanese animes.
Yeah.
You actually see in the Twin Snakes remake, you see it's Zone of the Ender Second Runner, I think.
Yeah.
When it goes to the anime, but in the original PS1 release, it shows you Police Knots, and no one in America knew what that was because the game's Japan only. So it was like, oh, it's some anime. You just had to know this. I still haven't played it myself, but at least now I know.
It's a really good game. I mean, it's just as detailed as Snatcher was. It's not nearly as heavy. It's definitely a more lighthearted adventure. Not quite as good, but what is?
Didn't you say it was like a point and click?
Okay, so what's neat about it was that it came out for the PlayStation 1. It originally came out for I think the PC 98. As well as
that sounds right. I've seen multiple versions.
It came out like for old computer systems, just like Snatcher did. But they made a PlayStation 1 version that has a lot of hand drawn stuff in it. Really great stuff. But they also included mouse support. Whereas what's cool about this version of Snatcher is that it's the only one to have light gun support. Mm-hmm. So you could technically play it with a Justifier for the Genesis, but the problem is we have HD TVs now, displays, so you kind of need to use the joypad for the most part.
Unless you have like an older TV at home, like a CRT.
But it's still it's a lot of fun being able to draw your gun like in real, because like
it's as interactive as the game gets.
Yeah, but it's kind of neat that you have to pick it up and it's just like, oh crap, I have to.
That's true. Yeah, most of the game you don't
the spiders.
Yeah. The vast majority of the game, as you saw, you don't have a reason to use it except for maybe the target range. So when it comes, you hear the battle music, you have to fumble for it because it's not like every once in a while you break out your gun. It was only like 4 times or 5 times in the whole game. And the game's pretty long, especially if you don't know what you're doing. It's like 3 hours of gameplay.
But what's neat about that is Police Knots has shooting sections too, and you could play it kind of like we did with Snatcher with a grid, or I think you actually control reticle. However, you can also do it with a mouse, and it's a lot more fun.
Oh, I would imagine so. And by the way, just throw this one out there. As we said, Snatcher is kind of Blade Runner the game. Police Knots is kind of Lethal Weapon the game.
Only in the future and in space. But
yeah, it's true. Blade Runner is already in the future, but yeah, Police Knots is kind of Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
So we got to look into that one at some point.
Absolutely. We were thinking about doing it. It recently got fan translated, so
the translations of a Kojima game. You better have translations for a Kojima game.
Yeah,
absolutely. Half the fun is the language itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well.
But anyway, yeah, this game was a lot of fun to play. I hope you had a lot of fun watching it, because we sure had fun playing it.
Absolutely.
Redundant.
And we'll be around for another one sometime, probably soon. We hope, and. We'll do some more tight analysis of awesome old games,
That's how it goes, man.
All right.
Until next time, everyone.
Catch you later.